Hey everybody, Dr. Schlater. We're in Unit 7, Lesson 6, Activity 2, the jumping flea. And we're going to start talking about distances and absolute value. So a flea is jumping around on the number line. If a flea starts at 1 and jumps 4 units to the right, where does it end up? How far away from 0 is this? So I want to show some jumping here. So I'm starting at 1 and I'm jumping 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 units to the right. Where does it end up? Okay, well, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, it's a 5 right there. Let's talk about what we can say. So, where does it end up? It ends up at 5. It is 5 units away from 0. All right, what if the flea starts at 1 and jumps 4 units to the left? Where does it end up? Okay, well, let's change this a little bit. I'm jumping 4 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so remember how we move on the number line. This is -1, -2, that's -3. Okay, where does the flea end up? It ends up at -3. It is 3 units away from 0. In each case, when we're talking about units, we're really talking about hops or jumps. So it takes 1, 2, 3 jumps to move between -3 and 0, and it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps to go from 0 to 1. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase what I have up here to start talking about the next questions. If the flea starts at 0 and jumps 3 units away, where might it land? Well, notice it didn't say direction here. So I can start at 0 and jump 1, 2, 3 to end up at +3. Or I can jump the other direction and go 1, 2, 3. That was a big jump to end up at -3. So we can land at 3 or -3. We have 2 answers here because I'm not telling you which direction it's going. It could go either direction from 0. Okay, let me erase again. If the flea jumps 7 units and lands at 0, where could it have started? All right, well, let me see. It jumps 7 units and it lands at 0. Let's move backwards. One thing it could have done is it could have been, let me see, 4, 5, 6, 7, is that I could have started at 7 and jumped to the left to get to 0. So from 7 to 0. Or let's see, I could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could have been at -7 here on the negative side of the number line and jumped to the right. So it could have started at -7 or 7. Again, there are 2 answers here because there's 2 directions that the flea could have moved. All right, notice how we've been talking so much about distances here and units. We want to introduce our vocabulary for today, and that is we are talking about absolute value. The absolute value of a number is its distance from 0. So I need to erase again because I want to talk about some problems. The flea is currently to the left of 0, over here, and the absolute value of its location is 4. Okay, so absolute value just means distance. I know the distance the flea is from 0 is 4, and I know it's somewhere over here. So if I draw my jumps, I have to be 4 away That's going to put me right there at negative 4. So the flea is at negative 4. All right. Again, I'm erasing these things just so that we've got, when we start over a problem, we've got a fresh number line. If the flea is to the left of 0, we're over here again, and the absolute value of its location is 5. Remember, absolute value means distance from 0. Where on the number line is it? Well, now I have to move over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am at negative 5. All right. If the flea is to the right of 0, and the absolute value of its location is 2 and 5/10, where on the number line is it? Okay, so now the flea is over here, and this one's a slightly different problem because I've got a decimal, but I'm supposed to be moving 1, 2, and a half jump right there. Well, that would put me at 2 and 5/10. So what I'm going to say is, flea is at 2 and 5/10. So notice what we've been doing here. We've been using absolute value to tell us the distance from 0. And when we know that absolute value, that tells us how far we have to travel. We do have to figure out whether we are going left or right. Now, instead of saying the absolute value all the time, we are going to be using this notation. So when I put lines around a number, a line on the left, a line on the right, that means the absolute value of negative 2. So that means how far is negative 2 from 0? The distance of negative 2 from 0 on the number line. So, by the way, if you want to type this, you can type this using the shift/ and it will type this. So let's talk about what these things mean. The absolute value of negative 7 means distance from negative 7 to 0 on the number line. And if I want to say what that is, that's equal to 7. Because if I go up here and I erase, and I count off and say, all right, where is this? Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7. Then I'm counting the distance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's why I have that equation right there. The absolute value of negative 7 equals 7. The same idea down here. Absolute value of 1 8/10 is the distance from 1 8/10 to 0 on the number line. This one is a little bit harder to envision, but if we go back up to the number line, what we are doing is we are jumping 1 whole unit. Excuse me, let me erase that. 1 whole unit and then 8/10 of a unit. So on the number line, I'm supposed to be at 1 and 8/10. So as an equation, what I write down is that the absolute value of 1 8/10 is 1 8/10. That's how far away we are from 0 on the number line.